Today we're going to go over delta by price. I'm going to explain what that is and how you can use it to make your trading better. I'm going to show you a few examples of the trades that I've taken. So let's get right into it. Let's ask ChatGPT, what is delta by price? In simple terms, delta by price is an order flow concept that shows difference between aggressive buyers and aggressive sellers at each price level. Let's jump into the charts now. So this right here. This is May 1st. So what we're looking at the delta at each price level and how it's behaving as we approach significant levels. Okay. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with volume profiles. This is the weekly profile. This is April 30th. I had this high volume zone marked out, and I just want to see, well, this is what they don't teach you. What I learned was really, hey, as you can have a limit order resting here and have it stop at the bottom of the volume proof high volume zones, and then just wait for a reaction. That's half the story. They don't tell you the complete story. So the complete story, you want to wait till price comes into that zone and see how price behaves. This shows you what's already happened. This is the past. Like, hey, we had a high volume. We can see some sort of reaction. We don't know if it's gonna break the level and react. We don't know if it's gonna edge it and react. All it means is this was a high volume zone. So let's get into my first trade that I avoided a loss using this. So you see this green box? That's the same green box here and even here. This is the 5-minute chart with the delta profile, and this is the 2-minute chart, which I use for my entries. I don't look at the 1 minute anymore. It doesn't exist in my world. So, what are people thinking here? A lot of people look at this aggressive buying coming in now, right? You can see with these bubbles, there's buying coming in, but they're not being rewarded. There's effort, but no reward. So, what happens when we come into this high volume zone? Price is still falling, price is still falling, price is still falling. You can see some buyers coming in, delta is turning green, but majority of this level is still bearish. Now, if you had taken this trade just by simply using a limit order, you would have lost this trade. This is why it's so important to wait. Just wait for the right setup and let price show you what it's gonna do. We are falling down, right? There's no confirmation to buy. Just because we have a little bit of buyers here, that doesn't mean that we should be buying here. It Market just opened and we're only 10 minutes into the open. Okay, price is holding. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, okay, some buyers came in, but it doesn't mean anything to me. Location and context are a very big thing in trading, and you just have to learn over time by taking losses. This is how you learn that, hey, context matters so much in trading, and I'll show you what that means. So people are starting to buy here. You see some buying. Now again, this could be buying, it could be profit taking. We don't know. We got to push up. We got somewhat of a higher delta here, positive delta here. Where are we going now? So this red line, this is the VWAP. This is a session VWAP from overnight, and this is the New York VWAP, this white line. I'm watching this level, but I don't want to take a short here. We just opened. I don't like trading the first 15 minutes. It just doesn't. I've taken many losses and I'm not gonna keep taking those losses. So I don't take. This could have been a beautiful trade as well. Look at this. Minus 338 delta at this price level. A lot of buying coming in. You could see the positive delta building up. But I'm being patient. This is not my setup, so I'm not gonna take it. Okay. Price is coming back into that zone. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. A lot of buyers are loading up. So what's happening here? A lot of buyers are loading up. But these sellers, they added on into their positions. Look, look at how price is behaving. Now, a lot of people, what they would do is they will start buying here, thinking, oh, we're rejecting price. But no, look at the delta here. Minus 244. They're adding on. Is getting more negative. It's more negative than positive. Look at these sellers adding on. Look, look how aggressive these sellers are here. Buyers are trying, but sellers have upper hand. Big seller just came in. Still, buyers are feeling, sellers are being very aggressive. Okay, now at this point, I'm also paying attention to this. This is a delta by candle minus 1287. Uh, minus 1287. So now I'm planning to look for buyers now. VWAP, we got first deviation, right? Despite being this aggressive, price hasn't fallen down much. Still waiting, still waiting. Okay. Now, another thing that you have to look for. So, what happened here? Minus 621, minus 384, minus 165, minus 48. Sellers are trying, but there's some passive buyers, not aggressive, there's passive buyers absorbing all their orders. We went for highly negative to a positive, and that's what my trade was. I'm just looking for a push up to VWAP. I want to see how price reacts here. And keep in mind, I know that we're heavily bearish. So again, I take my trade there. I'm moving my stop up just to protect my capital. And I'm paying attention to this delta. Are we more green? Look how aggressively price moved up. Okay. I'm up a little over 1 hour, but I want to see how price will behave at this level. Look at that negative delta, negative delta. Price is not in my favor in this situation. We test the New York VWAP. I'm still holding it. I'm not seeing any signs to let go of this position just yet. Okay. Heavy sellers are coming in. Look at that. But buyers are defending their positions. So I'm still holding this trade. We still haven't tested deep into the zone. I want to see how these buyers will react because we had positive delta here. Now we're gonna test. We're testing New York session VWAP. Look at that heavy rejection that just came in, and look at the delta minus 418. Buyers tried, but they failed. So this is where I go break even. I cut my trade right here. I cut it. Why? But look at this big seller. These buyers failed to push price up. There's big sellers around this area. I don't want to be in this trade anymore. We're moving down. Price is not behaving the way I want it to be. It is not going in my direction. This next trade that I take, this is a momentum play. This is a momentum short. I ended up breaking even, but this is not what I want to teach you guys or tell you guys. I want to show you the next trade. So I took a short here. I'm always aiming for a 2R. I have to get a 2R. Otherwise my system it just won't work in my favor. So I took that break even. I took a break even here on the buys. I took a break even here on the sells. Now I'm waiting for price to come back in the zone. Minus 418 delta. Okay. What do we know previously? We have some buyers here. Okay. Let me go back a little bit. So look at the zone. Look at that push up, the way it goes up aggressively, right? We're seeing a lot of imbalances, stacked imbalances being built. Buyers are trying to push this up right here. They're very strong in this level. Okay, look how strong these buyers are. The way price is approaching this level. Okay, now what happens? We don't just, this is the mistake I used to make before. I'll just sell. I see this, I sell, but I'll get cooked. I've gone cooked so many times, it's not even funny. So what do? I wait. And what am I waiting for? To price to show me what's happening. We got minus 418 delta here. Okay. Do I see any green coming up? No. Price is going down. Sales are adding. Okay. This right here, this number, minus 3 of, watch. If if I want, you know, despite being that push up, all these buyers, they should have pushed price up aggressively. Look how aggressive they were here. So I'm looking at this, minus 305. This number is not getting any bigger. Okay. Buyers, this is exactly where I enter, right here. I enter another short. I was willing to put the risk on. I'm watching this. I'm still watching these numbers clearly. Look at that. All the green is turning purple. All that positive is turning into negative delta. Look at that push down. Look, we're having more aggressive sellers in this area. You'll see buyers trying right here, but buyers are failing. Okay, so this trade, I'll show you. Another reason why I cut this trade. Minus 1200 delta on this candle. You got minus 1800 delta on this candle. This one, you got, I'll cut it at 2R. You got minus 1100 delta. There is no aggressive buyers coming in here. The volume is actually low. It's not high. I want to see a high volume on a break. And that's the only reason why I cut this trade so early. And then what happens after? We go back up. Why? Because sellers failed to bring price even lower. And I got my 2R, and that was a trade for the day. This is my trade from May 1st. We're at all-time highs, and we've been pushing up pretty aggressively. And that's the reason why I was looking for buys. I'm not gonna try to fade the momentum unless I see something. So what happens in this trade? Well, what do we know from this? Okay, we open at 630. Look at that delta, positive 668. More people were hitting the ask over here. Okay, look how aggressively we pushed up. Now, the red line is the overnight VWAP. This is the New York VWAP. You got my first trade that I took. These sellers, they failed. And I was being very aggressive with this trade. These sellers failed. I can see price moving up, positive delta. So I'll give buyers a chance here. Small position. You know, I don't want to miss this train with this momentum. So I'll wait, I'll wait. This one, whatever. This one turns into a loss. Look how slow the price is, right? We're not moving up, we're not moving down. But right at this exact moment, okay? Now I'm waiting. Price could come underneath here in this area and could really just come here and then go up from here. But it doesn't do that. What does it do? Price taps into the zone. These buyers are adding on. Look at the delta 668. Look at this minus 141. Sellers are trying to push price down. Sellers are trying. Look at that push up we get. So either all these sellers, there's a big buyers that came in, or all these sellers let go of their position because they couldn't bring their price, they couldn't push the price down. Look at all these stacked imbalances. So this is where I enter right off. I didn't want to miss this. I entered with 10 contracts, and I'm seeing a lot of positive delta right here. Look at that delta. All these buyers here. There's barely any sellers here anymore. I'm in with 10. Okay. I add more. I add two more. Sorry, I add four more. And why am I adding? Because I'm not seeing delta falling. I'm only seeing delta getting more positive, right? Look at how the price is behaving. Positive 579, positive 489, 483. There's only a little bit of negative here. And this is what gives you more confidence to hold these trades and add on to your positions. Look at that. Big buyers are stepping in. Positive 309. They keep adding. No sellers. No signs of sellers. Big seller just came in, but he got absorbed because they didn't make any difference to the delta. What difference does it make? None. And I'm still holding my position. All this positive delta, and it only gets bigger. It only gets more and more. There's no signs of sellers here whatsoever. Some sellers start to step in, but not much. We're still highly positive. Look at this. And then we hit my TP. So yeah, and that was the end of it. Hopefully you guys learned something. And if you guys implement this, and I just started implementing this not too long ago. So if you guys implement this in your trading, I'm sure it'll be very helpful. So like, follow, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.